Now you might be able to hear me. Oh, what's going on, guys? Fernie, Roland, Priscilla, seeing you guys in the chat. Glad that you guys are along for the ride. My bad. You would think that I haven't been doing this at all, but no, I've been here. I've been doing this for a while. So, anyways, what a big week we have. El Paso Locomotive with a chance to get into the playoffs here at the right at the end of the season. We talked at the beginning of the season a lot on Seriously Loco about the potential for this team to get into the playoffs and how basically a playoff spot was what we were looking for, right? Like competing and being competitive for a playoff spot was always the goal. And this team has gone through a lot this season. A lot of tough spells, a lot of turnover in players, lot of things that I don't think a lot of us saw coming in this inaugural season. Obviously, losing one of our main players in the early months of the season, Mishak Jerome, to that injury in the Gold Cup. I mean, what a blow that was to the team. We were missing key players at certain parts of the season. But here we are at the end of it, and we have a shot at making a playoff place and going into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum as well, if the team can stay healthy. So yeah, this is such a good situation for Locomotive to be in, and there's been points of the season where we've been up and down, and we've been questioning the goal scoring for sure, and I don't think anyone's wrong for looking at that side of the ball and thinking, okay, maybe there's some improvement that we can see there. But at the same time, we're in the spot that we wanted to be at the end of the season. So let's first talk about this game in Reno that we witnessed last weekend. The 0-0 draw, a little bit frustrating, obviously, especially given how well the team started. I'll say it was crazy to see the Locomotive come out of the gates like that, and I really do wish that they could have gotten a result because they deserved it. They deserved to get something from that game. They played one of the best teams in the Western Conference off the park at times. Just to give you guys the big kind of overview, and Genevieve, I'm right there with you. Yeah, it was. It's strange. I said it on Twitter on Seriously Loco, but I think it's possible for a draw to be a good result and a bad result all at once. It felt like less than we deserved, but at the same time, going to Reno and getting a point, given the circumstances, especially with the changes in the lineup, was really great, I think. And it showed a lot from this team. So, I mean, 23 total shots with 16 chances created, and 9 shots on target, all saved by the man of the match and the USL Player of the Week, Marchanowski. Where is he at? Yeah, James Marchanowski. I mean, this dude was unbelievable. Yeah, 9 saves and kept Reno in the game. Sergio, what's going on? Good to have you in the chat as well. Yeah, we came up against a guy who just wasn't going to concede. That goal was his, and he wasn't going to give us anything. But there were some really great positives from this match on the Locomotive side as well. Omar started the match very brightly. Jennifer, what's going on? Yeah, Omar started really brightly. Had a couple of shots on target early on. Josue Aron Gomez, maybe not his best match, but I mean, I feel like we say this guy's name each week now. He's become one of the most influential players on the field. Sebastian Velasquez. The dude's a freak, man. such a good player. It's kind of unbelievable. In this game, he definitely showed his quality. Uh, created four chances, completed 94% of his passes. Um, he was a little unlucky in that he took four shots and three of them were blocked. Um, yeah, Ernesto, I'm with you. He he frustrated me later in the game. As far as Omar goes, yeah, he frustrated me later in the game. It was more about indecision than about missing chances, and it was about having chances where we didn't create a shot, and that's ultimately been our downfall a lot of the time. Um, but going back to Velasquez, I mean, I've got to give him so much credit. Duels. So anytime that somebody competed with him for the ball, that happened 15 times in the game. He won 13 of them and lost only two of them, which is crazy. And then craziest stat of the match: seven dribbles attempted, so seven dribbles succeeded, for a 100% rating there. Seb Velasquez, just ridiculous. And hopefully he can continue that against Austin tomorrow. I think the one player I also got a shout out from that Reno match is Memo Diaz. Memo has not started for us this season. He's seen his chances be very limited. He is he is a very he's a local player, very talented. He came up through the amateur leagues of the U.S. He was playing in Laredo, for Laredo Heat, um, and he came in for a player who has been so consistent for Locomotive in Brian Rebellon. He's been so good for Locomotive. He's nominated for USL Defender of the Year. So let's just all appreciate what a big task it was for Memo Diaz to come in for Brian Rebellon of all people, playing at right back, which he played as a winger primarily in at the amateur levels. He's a goal scorer, and in this game he came out. I gotta say he performed so well, acquitted himself extremely well in Rebellon's absence, because it it felt like we didn't take a huge step down when Rebellon came off, and that is such a credit to Memo for coming in and filling in to the point where away from home against Reno, it would have been easy for him to be like, to say, oh, I'm playing out of position, whatever. No, he stepped in, he played out of his mind, and it's obviously not going to show as much on the stat sheet because he did like the hard work, but he also got into attacking areas, and credit to him, he played in three crosses and completed two key passes. So I mean, two passes that could have been assists if they go in. Yeah, the guy played out of his mind, and for an El Pasoan to come into the team, we've seen obviously, at different parts of the season, Omar and then Chapa come in. And so for Memo to come in and perform as well as he did against a team like Reno is just such a credit to him, for sticking it out and putting that effort in all the way to the end of the season, because he hasn't gotten his big chance. He hasn't really had that opportunity to show what he's made of this season. And so for him to come in and put in 90 minutes like he did was just amazing, and so awesome to see from the native El Pasoan. We also we can never overlook Logan's contributions either. He only had two saves to make in the match, which is what we normally ask of our keeper, right? Like our style means that he's not going to normally have a ton to do. He's not going to have to make, we're not going to ask him to make 9 saves a match, but we are going to ask him to be there in those moments, those two vital moments where if he concedes, we're talking about a loss now. Um, we come out the other end, we still get the clean sheet, and ultimately coming away with the win, able to rest Chiro, able to rest Brian Rebellon, able to start Kiesewetter off the bench as well. Um, just a good sequence. Um, and yeah, Fernie, it I think Logan has developed into a really, really good keeper as the season's gone along. He's cut out most of the mistakes from his game. He's a very good decision maker. He's very confident in the box now, and it was stuff that I think early on, just putting on that number one shirt. I mean, you see it happen to keepers all over the world, but putting on that number one shirt can get heavy sometimes for guys, and sometimes they struggle with it. But Logan has grown into that role as the starting keeper. And I'm very happy to have him on our side as we go forward with Locomotive. But yeah, Reno, it was a case of we were able to more or less contain their big weapons. Corey Herzog not really doing as much damage as what we expected. I don't think Musovsky, I think, still had a good game. But they were extremely limited in what they were able to do, um, and that's full credit to Locomotive for frustrating Reno throughout. Uh, they only create the 2 shots on target, which is amazing, and then they created 6 less chances than Locomotive, and Locomotive ended up with 14 shots from inside the box, just 5 for Reno the whole game. So I have to give credit. The game plan worked. I think Locomotive deserved more. They could have come away with this. Could have come away from this with all 3 points, which would have been amazing. But looking back, it is a good result for the team, and especially given the context of this run into the playoffs. So as we look around, there is actually a game going on right now as we speak. Real Monarchs facing off against Orange County, 2 teams that are above us in the table. It is 0-0 in the 62nd minute. And just for context, if it remains a draw, which would be a good result, a draw would be a good result for Locomotive between those 2 teams, just chipping away at that point total for both, and giving Locomotive a chance to catch either of those teams. Orange County currently in 4th on 49 points, having played, and Locomotive will have a game in hand on them at the end of this, and then Real Monarchs will have played 31 as well, and they'll be on 47 points. They're sitting in that vital 6th position, which is the last playoff position, which does not play in the playoff round, or the play-in round, excuse me. So in case you guys weren't tracking the playoff format, there's 10 teams make the playoffs in each conference. 7, 8, 9, and 10 will play each other in a play-in round. And just for the overall kind of context of it, we will play LA Galaxy 2 the last day of the season, on a Saturday, or I think it's a Saturday. Yeah, October 19th, I believe. Yeah. So we'll play on a Saturday, October 19th, against LA Galaxy 2 in the last game of the season. The play-in round will be the following Wednesday. And so that would mean multiple, a game Saturday followed by a game Wednesday. And then the next playoff round is the following Saturday. So it would mean a week like this week where we play 3 games in 7 days, and 2 playoff games in that time. Just extremely difficult for any team to manage. So making that top 6 is so important. Ernesto, if New Mexico loses, are they out? So the magic number right now for guaranteeing a playoff spot is 47 points. um, because that is the max that San Antonio FC, who's in 11th right now, can achieve. Technically, if New Mexico loses the next game, they'll have 42 points from an available, and with only 6 remaining, so they could still make the playoffs if they lose this weekend. They will be playing against Tulsa on Saturday. So, yeah, New Mexico still have their destiny in their own hands as far as making the playoffs, as do El Paso, obviously. So the big question mark for El Paso, if they beat Austin Bold, it becomes simple. You win and you're into the playoffs, guaranteed. No matter what happens the last 2 games, you'll finish in the top 10. If Locomotive if they win out, they will get 55 points. 55 would be enough to finish guaranteed 5th, no matter what the results are in the rest of the conference. If results go our way, we could finish as high as like 4th, and could be in a very, very good situation for the playoffs. If we finish in that 7th to 10th position, it'll give us a big challenge, having to play LA Galaxy 2, and then, it could, if the playoffs finish today, we would play LA Galaxy 2 in LA on Saturday the 19th, and that following Wednesday we'd play LA Galaxy 2 at home on that Wednesday, and then we would have to play either Phoenix or Fresno on that following Saturday. So, Fernie, I got to agree with you, and I think the Reno match is really what I think the Reno match is really what should give us the confidence playing against anybody, really, because Reno, beating Fresno at home, then playing against Reno, we do play extremely well, even against some of the top teams. Phoenix would certainly be a challenge, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we played Phoenix extremely tough in Phoenix this year, and the James Kiffey red card really changed things that night. So I think we can hang with anybody, but for right now, I'm just worried about this game against Austin Bold. So let's take a look at Austin Bold and what kind of threat they pose tomorrow night when they come to the SWUP. So first things first, we'll talk about goal scorers, because that's ultimately what is going to get the job done. Bold's big threats, Andre Lima is the big one for them. 12 goals on the season. He has been a stalwart for them. He started 26 out of the 30 games he's played, and the 34-year-old Brazilian has been extremely dangerous for them, tied with Jerome Kiesewetter on 12 goals as it stands in USL. And then we also have Kleber, another older Brazilian player who has 11 goals for Austin Bold this season. And then the other player who gets a shout out is one of the first inductions to the Shithouse 11. For those of you who listen to the show in our podcast format, the Shithouse 11 made up of players who play the game in an annoying or excruciating way, and Chris Tierpak on 8 goals for Austin Bold, another danger for them. You'll recognize him because he wears the helmet, or that like band across his head to protect against concussions. So it's easy to pick him out. So those 3 are really the guys that if you stop them, you're likely shutting down most of what Austin is trying to do. The the upside is that we've looked extremely good against some of these teams that have these big threats. Corey Herzog for Reno, one of the top scorers in the league, effectively shut him down, um, and kept him from being a big threat in Reno. They'll have to do similarly against Austin. Um, yeah, Fernie, I think Suggs was already a contender for Shithouse of the Year. Um, for our end of season, we'll have some end of season awards. Shithouse of the Year will definitely be one of them. And yeah, those comments about Phoenix, just it's like, dude, just stay in your lane at some point. Nobody likes Phoenix, but you know, nobody likes New Mexico either. So we'll just have to see how the voting pans out for Shithouse of the Year. Looking at Bold though, the way that we've played at home, we have done in these last few games at home. We've done a good job of sticking to our guns in terms of uh, possessing a lot of the ball, creating chances. Recently, we've done a lot better at creating chances. I mean, the last home game, a big example of that, against Fresno, where I mean we could have been over the hills and far away. And I know I probably sound like a broken record, but we could have been, 3 or 4 nil up at halftime, and I'm hoping maybe a break for Jerome Kiesewetter, maybe a little bit of a kick in the pants, if you will, for him, combined with, I hope, a run of goal scoring form for Sebastian Velasquez. I hope those two things can turn into a good night against Austin, uh, for Locomotive. They have done a good job of scoring goals this season. It has to be said, 49 goals on the year in 31 matches. Um, Defensively, though, that they're not quite as solid as Locomotive. They face a lot more shots than us, about 142 shots on the season versus 101 for us. And then they've conceded 14 more goals, so 46 goals conceded in 31 games. Just the 32 in 31 for Locomotive, with 13 clean sheets after this one in Reno. Um, so it has to be said that you'd expect Locomotive to be on top in this one. Bold, in their current position in the table, are going to be looking for points. A point is a good result for them. Um, the the way things have been going for them, I think they're going to try to get out with a draw. That taking a 3 point hit against Locomotive would be devastating for Bold because of their place in the table. So if you look at the USL Championship table as it stands right now, as Real Monarchs have taken the lead over Orange County. Sorry, just looking at this real quick. That would put Real Monarchs up to 47 points, and would clinch them a place in the playoffs. Not surprising, and would keep Orange County on 49 points. So it would hurt El Paso's chances in terms of a draw, puts us sixth, and Real Monarchs would have a game in hand. But if we can jump up to 49 points, we could be level with Orange County on 49. So I don't know. Maybe I'd say of all the results, a Real Monarchs win is still decent for us, although I would prefer a draw. Anyways, I digress. Table-wise, Austin Bold is level currently with El Paso on 46 points. A win taking El Paso up to 49. Bold being on 46, having played 32 games, starts to put them under pressure to win those last 2 games of the season to guarantee their spot in the playoffs. They are still in a good spot given where LA Galaxy 2 and New Mexico are at. along with San Antonio and Vegas. But if they can get up to 48, then it puts them in the playoffs for sure. A loss just puts that into doubt. So let's take a look at Austin Bold's form over the last few games. So going back to the beginning of September, Bold are a extremely potent team at home. They struggle a little bit on the road. So at home to RGV at the beginning of the month, they won 3-0 against a 10-man RGV side. Then they went to Colorado Springs and drew 1-1, so not the best result there. Then to Sacramento and lost 2-1 in Sacramento. Then to Reno and lost 2-1 in Reno. They came home and had a very good game September 22nd against Vegas, a 4-1 win at home against Vegas, and then a surprising road victory last Sunday against Portland Timbers 2-1. Chris Tierpak and Andre Lima scoring the goals for Austin Bold, and that was actually a comeback win as well, as Timbers took the lead in the 25th minute, and 2 second-half goals for Austin Bold won them the game. So some resilience there, certainly from Austin Bold away in Portland. So coming into El Paso, we can't expect an easy game from Austin, but it will be a tough game, I would say, for Locomotive, but it'll be a lot of fun. The interesting thing as we look ahead, Locomotive tomorrow night with a chance to clinch the playoffs on fireworks night of all nights. I mean, how perfect is that? If we could celebrate with some fireworks after the game as well. I hope we're able to celebrate a Locomotive win. As far as in an episode, I'll always give you guys our score predictions. It's a good point, Roland. When we last played Austin, if you can throw your mind back all the way to Easter Sunday, we played Austin in Austin to a scoreless draw. Back in those days when every Locomotive away game ended 0-0 on the road. It almost feels like a different season given how long ago that happened. And happy birthday to Cindy as well. I'm just catching up on the comments as I was clicked over to a different page reading stats. So happy birthday, Cindy. Thanks for stopping by. Getting back to the Bold results, I think we are a very different team from the last time we played them. They have primarily the same squad or most of the same players. As I get into the predictions for the match, I have to go for a Locomotive win, and I'm feeling good. I think the team is feeling good, so I'm gonna go emphatic. I'm gonna go for a 3-0 at home. I know that's like probably tempting fate, but I'm going for 3-0. I think it's gonna be Mark's boys stamp their authority on this one from the get-go, and finally get a result that they deserve, because there's been so many games that could have been 3-0 or 4-0, and I'm thinking one of these days it has to fall. It has to fall for Locomotive. I'm thinking Jerome Kiesewetter gets back amongst the goals. Seb Velasquez scores his first goal from open play, and then we'll go for the who's that third goal scorer? I'll say Nick Ross. I've joked a lot on the pod about Nick Ross always hitting the woodwork, so I think Nick finally, it'll still hit the post, but it'll go in instead of going out. I don't know. I feel good. I know you guys are saying I'm a little crazy, but it's it just I gotta be a little optimistic about these guys, especially chasing that playoff spot. And given how well they played against teams like Fresno and Reno, I think they can get the job done against Austin Bold. Um, I I really do feel good about this. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping things go our way. I think we'll definitely find ourselves in the playoffs at the end of it. I think this team has enough about it to get the job done. I know most of you in the comments will be there with Eighth Notch, and I think I'll be excited to hear you guys. Um, it is we're coming to the end of a very long, tumultuous, kind of crazy season. Only a few games left in this one. I hope you guys are gonna be out there. Bring your friends, tell your family, get them behind the Locos, and hopefully we'll be celebrating some playoff football here late in the fall months, and we'll all be partying together, having fun along the way. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little talk. I know it doesn't replace a full episode. We got to get the Mika Militia back out there, but yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you're not already, you can obviously find the podcast a number of different places: Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, and then you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. So go ahead and hit us up there. Let us know. Send us your pictures and stuff from match days. Send us your videos, all the party. We obviously will retweet all that stuff, and all of this stuff. I love doing this, and I'm happy to talk Locomotive with any of you guys. So hopefully I'll run into you guys tomorrow, and we'll be celebrating a big Locomotive win. Until next time, stay loco, guys.